More Greek mythology nonsense! Hi, my name is Adriana, and today I'll be going over my anticipated releases for the first half of 2023. So as the title of this video and that little intro clip explained, there are books coming out next year, and I want to read some of them. So I'm gonna go over those books that I am excited for them to come out and to read them and enjoy them. Well, hopefully enjoy them. Anyway, before I jump into it, please consider liking and commenting on this video and subscribing to my channel if you like bookish things. So this first book is a bit of a cheat because technically I already have a copy of it, but it comes out February 7th and it is Cradle of Ice, the follow-up to The Starless Crown, the second book in the Moonfall saga by James Rowlands. I honestly have no idea what is going to be happening in this book because I don't really remember the first one. Fortunately, I have my copy of the first one somewhere over here, and I made many annotations, so hopefully if I just kind of browse through my annotations, I can remember what's going on. But I am very excited about this one because I do very much remember enjoying the first one, and James Rowlands has rarely ever let me down. The second book I am also extremely excited about. It comes out February 21st, and it is The Shadow of Perseus by Claire North. Claire North is the author of, is it up here somewhere? Daughters of Sparta, that I read earlier this year and adored. So very excited for another Greek mythology retelling. I think this one has a good chance of being up there with one of my favorites. It is a retelling of the Perseus and Medusa story, obviously. So I'm getting, you know, some good Stone Blind vibes, but I think it's gonna be a little bit of a different take than Natalie Haynes did. Daughters of Sparta, obviously a Trojan War kind of retelling. Natalie Haynes also did a Trojan War retellings, and those were two very different retellings. So I'm anticipating that this is going to be very different from Stone Blind, which is a good thing and also not a bad thing. It's just a thing that I am excited about. At the end of February, February 28th, we have A Day of Fallen Night, the prequel to, she's down here somewhere, A Priory of an Orange Tree. I imagine this is going to be another very thick, chunky book that I will have to hype myself up for, but I think it's going to be really great. I really enjoyed Priory of an Orange Tree, and this one is taking place sometime in the past, so it's supposed to be a little more kind of like mythic age, which I think will be really fun. I'm very intrigued to see what is happening up in here. This next one is another sequel, but it comes out April 11th, and that is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I read Part of Your World and absolutely adored it like everybody else. So I think this has a good chance of also being incredible. We'll have to see. I know some romance authors struggle a bit with like a sophomore slump. They like hit a home run on their first one and then kind of struggle through some of the follow-ups or companions, but I really liked the main female character in the first books, and this one is focusing on her, so hopefully it will also be very good. The next book on this list is the only non-fiction on this list. I'm not a huge non-fiction reader, or I guess I'm not huge in like anticipating non-fiction, but as I was scrolling through NetGalley looking through for releases, really struck my interest and seemed like something that could really garner a lot of benefit from as a person. And it comes out May 2nd, and it is called Deconstructing the Fitness Industrial Complex. It is, like I said, a nonfiction book. I believe it's a collection of essays from different people within the fitness industry, coaches, athletes, personal trainers, kind of that whole vibe, influencers maybe, and they are all part of some sort of marginalized community, LGBTQ, disabled, POC, BIPOC. I don't talk about my relationship with like fitness and health too much on this channel because that's not what it's about, but I have a very conflicted relationship with fitness and health as someone who has always been a straight-sized person and has struggled with body image their whole life. The fitness industry does a lot of predatory marketing, and I'm really intrigued to see how, I know how that affects me as like a cis white woman. I'm really interested to hear other people's experiences as someone other than me. Also, my sister was a college athlete and is like pretty big into like fitness and nutrition and health, so I'm excited to be able to pass this along to her as well, because I think she will also get a lot of value out of it. The next one is me back on my Greek mythology nonsense, and that is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. I'm hoping that this is actually the American release and not the UK release, because I know a lot of like her books will come out in the UK like a couple months before. I'm hoping I don't have to wait past May for this one, but I am so excited for this one. I love Jennifer Saint. I adored Ariadne. Electra was fine, but I'm just not a huge Trojan War girly. But I am so excited for Atalanta. I think this is a story that has not been done to death. Like, you know, we're all familiar with Trojan War retellings, Persephone and Hades, Psyche and Eros, like all of those, like those stories get told. I don't know if I've ever seen a single book about the Argonauts. As far as a full Argonaut retelling, this is the first one I've seen, and it's from the perspective of the only woman on the Argo, and I think it's going to be incredible, and I am so excited. Atalanta is such a badass character, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped, man. This next one I think is going to be an anticipated release for most people, considering this author's success with literally everything they do, but it comes out May 16th, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Little bit of a different take on R.F. Kuang. I mean, obviously she has like a lot of important concepts within her books, especially, you know, Babel being the most recent. This one is, I don't believe, a fantasy at all. I think it's just a contemporary literary fiction, and it focuses on two friends who are both writers. One of them is significantly more successful and is getting better book deals, and she suddenly passes away. The friend who is still alive steals her transcript and goes to get it published. But it turns out the friend who died was of Asian descent and was writing about the Asian experience of maybe Asian Americans during World War II. I don't know. I try not to read too many synopses, but the book has something to do with the Asian experience. So the friend who stole the manuscript is white and kind of changes her author profile and everything to become more racially ambiguous, and decides to publish this story. So I think it's dealing with, you know, the ethics of white fragility and feeling that you have the authority to publish a story no matter who is telling it and who should be telling certain stories. And I am just very excited to see this unfold on the page with R.F. Kuang's incredible writing. Very much looking forward to that, as I'm sure everybody is. This next one, more Greek mythology nonsense. May 30th, Psyche and Eros by Luna McNamara. I believe this is her debut novel. I ended up being able to get a NetGalley arc, which is great, so I will be trying it out and seeing what's up. But like I said, the Psyche and Eros story is one that's been a little more played out, so I'll be really interested to see if this author does anything kind of different or interesting with it, or if it'll be more of kind of a straightforward retelling. Either way, I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Like, I'm a sucker for a Greek retelling. The next one is The Puzzle Master by Danielle Trussoni. I've never read this author before, but the cover / title seemed appealing to me. I read a little bit of the synopsis. It seems like kind of a puzzle-involved thriller, Da Vinci Code sort of deal, which I usually adore, so I'm willing to take a shot and see what happens. I guess, like, as far as anticipating this one, I'm not waiting on like bated breath, but like, I'll check it out. And then finally, also on June 13th is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. What can I say? Do I expect this book to be good? No. Do I expect this book to be highly entertaining and focusing in on a woman in STEM? Yes. And that's enough for me. Also, a bit of an aside, but my sister's currently reading The Love Hypothesis, and she just like got her master's, and she She just keeps sending me texts about how cringy everything that is happening is, and I guess like when my mom picked it up, she picked it up, like she was reading it as like a psychological thriller about how terrible everything was and not like as a rom-com. So that's the way she sold it to my sister, but my sister is like reading this book and she's like, they're putting it on like a rom-com, and I'm like, yeah. That's kind of all romantic or rom-coms though, right? Like from a certain perspective, any rom-com could be a psychological thriller. I love my mom. She's hilarious. She is so great. And Heather is currently reading The Love Hypothesis. I don't know if I'll be able to convince her to read the rest of them. But anyway, those are a small portion of the books coming out in the first 6 months of the year. Those are the ones I'm kind of keeping an eye out for, that I will be perusing for in the bookstore and whatnot. But if you have any other recommendations for me, or if you're looking into any of these books, please comment down below and let me know. And thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.